Sisters Nettie and Niecy Smith are behind the wildly popular podcast called Get Wasted. The podcast is all about the highly controversial but iconic teen drama South of Nowhere, which originally aired on the teen-oriented network The N and ran from 2005 until 2008. South of Nowhere centers around a family that moves from small-town Ohio to Los Angeles and follows the three Carlin siblings, Spencer, Clay, and Glenn. Spencer struggles with her sexual orientation, Clay, who is adopted, struggles with his racial identity, and Glenn gets into all kinds of trouble. The Get Wasted podcast chronicles each episode of South of Nowhere as the sisters go deep into the different characters and themes of these episodes with thought-provoking commentary. Nettie and Niecy also take the podcast a step further and dedicate episodes to interviews with several of the show's main cast members, including one with the show's creator.
Heard you made a new friend.
Yeah, and she is smoking hot.
I told you this move would work out.
What are you doing? Did you want to come?
I think you should find some new friends, okay? This girl Ashley does sound like she could be a bad influence on you.
Mom, come on.
You should be as lost as we are. This place is completely insane.
Well, I'm good, because the gym is right across the quad.
You watch yourself out of your son?
I was looking for you.
You're still Aiden's girlfriend. And the word is she's a man-eater.
You got something you want to say to me?
We have a problem?
Where you headed?
Home?
Come on, man. Hey, Clay, come here, man. I just don't get why you hang out with him.
Well, I guess I know where we stand.
Yo, I didn't think you choose the party with the brothers.
You kids gotta look out for each other, Glenn.
That's that white boy's problem, not yours.
It's my brother.
All day long, I've been trying to tell you the most important thing, and all you want to do is hang out with boys. I don't feel like I quite fit in.
Just take it slow until you figure out what she's really up to, whether it's about you or him.
Trust me, it's all about me now.
Am I interrupting? I want to know if he's the reason we uprooted our family and dragged them to L.A.
That's why I wanted today to be special for you. It's kind of like the last day of the old Spencer, you know?
South of Nowhere. It's not where you've been, it's where you're going. An all-new original series. Coming this November. Only in the N.
Please welcome the Get Wasted podcast to the hot seat. Okay, ladies, hello, and thank you for being in the hot seat today.
Oh, wow, the hot seat. Oh, God.
Okay, so let me jump right into it. You guys are sisters, Nettie and Niecy, and you guys are the creators of Get Wasted, a popular podcast that's dedicated to the insanely popular but controversial teen drama South of Nowhere. It originally aired on a teen-oriented network, The N, alongside other popular shows like Degrassi from 2005 to 2008. Why did you start a show dedicated entirely to South of Nowhere?
Well, it was my idea because it's my favorite show, and I love podcasts. I got to a point where I was looking through all my favorite shows from the past and seeing which ones had podcasts, and South of Nowhere didn't have one. And I felt like that was absolutely terrible. I figured since I have a background in radio, I have a couple mics, I know how to edit, and I could talk about the show forever, that we should do a podcast. I got my sister to do it because, you know, obviously it's better if you talk in a group. Me and her watched it together initially. The biggest thing is I wanted to make sure the fans had this. It was such an injustice to me to find out there was no podcast for this show already. So like, seriously, I guess I say that because it's my favorite show. And I'm like, why does Boy Meets World have 1 million podcasts?
Yeah.
There's nothing for South. There's one for Degrassi too.
Yeah.
And like all these shows that I, watched growing up, but no one took the time to step in and do one for South.
Yeah, why not do the podcast with someone like the person that you watched it with? So I was just here for the ride. I came along, I did my thing, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's fun to listen to. I absolutely love it. I love listening to the episodes. I discovered South of Nowhere when it was first coming out in 2005. I was 15. I remember the promos leading up to it. I remember how controversial it was. Like, it felt like a much edgier Degrassi, especially with the different themes that they had, like LGBTQ plus issues, racial identity, drugs, and kind of how the storytelling was different. The show had no problem showing PDA between both straight and gay characters, which was refreshing. It also had no problem showing how Clay handled being the Black kid in LA. How do you guys think that this show helped to redefine LGBTQ plus and minorities being represented on teen television, which up until that point had been notoriously straight and white?
That was a really deep question. But yeah, South of Nowhere, I like how they were not afraid to go there with some things, and they were really woke, and they definitely had some topics that were controversial to talk about, and they had some good topics and discussion.
Yeah.
What I really liked was that, I Niecy watched Degrassi, and I would catch, parts of it here and there, and they had couples. I think they had Paige and Alex. They weren't like Spencer and Ashley. Like they didn't go far. It just seemed very tame, very Disney compared to South of Nowhere. What's really cool about a show like that is being able to see a lesbian teenager figure out her way through life, and the viewers taking that in. Like, for instance, me and Niecy are both two straight girls. We weren't familiar with like that type of coming out story. And so watching something like that puts it in perspective and teaches you kind of like not everyone has one narrative and has one coming out story. And this is one that you can kind of identify with and watch in 3 seasons and get to know the characters and love them.
And you guys brought up 2 really interesting points in the podcast episode of what some would call the most famous episode of South of Nowhere, the one where Spencer's kind of forced out of the closet when Paula finds her hooking up with Ashley in her room. At this point, Glenn was a full-on drug addict and going through detox after being picked up from jail by his parents, by his very sympathetic parents, I'm sorry. But in great contrast, when Paula realizes that Spencer is gay, she flips out. She tells Spencer, her own daughter, that she discusses her and has a gay conversion therapist come into the home to try to change Spencer. What do you guys think the real reasoning behind Paula's flip out was? Because the father was totally supportive of Spencer.
I feel like with Paula, it was the way it would look to people, considering that she's so religious. They're part of the church and they have this, perfect family. With a, addiction, you can go get that treated and, deal with that like privately. Whereas having a daughter that's gay, I mean, she's going to be gay for the rest of her life. It's like, you're not going to change that. She was probably thinking like, first off, how am I going to relate to her now? Because she said something like, oh, I thought you'd be going on, vacations with dad and I. And I'm like, she could still go on vacation. She's just going to bring her wife or her girlfriend. And she said she was afraid of people making fun of her and treating her badly. That's the world we live in and things like that. But it was weird because I think they found out that Clay had gotten Chelsea pregnant too at the time. So
yeah,
she didn't care about that. She was more concerned with her daughter who was gay as opposed to her 2 sons who were wilding out.
Exactly. Niecy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think she freaked out mostly because of religious purposes, but I totally forgot that Clay got Chelsea pregnant, but she mostly wanted to focus on the fact that Spencer was gay and just lost her mind. And she was cheating too. Didn't even get me started. Paula was she's over here yelling at Spencer because she wants to like girls. Like, Paula, get yourself together first.
I felt like Madison's bestie, Sherry, was an underutilized character that actually could have had more depth to her, as she and Madison were both minority characters who were besties, who would have obviously had a different experience from the show as main characters. There was an episode where the school went on lockdown, and it's mentioned that the minority students are in one classroom and the white students are like in another or something like that. What do you guys think about that?
The character of Sherry, I do think we didn't really see a lot of her. I think she was just kind of, and she didn't really have any depth as far as like her own thoughts. It seemed like she was a parrot to Madison, just kind of like repeating everything she said and any feelings that she had. I follow the actress Marissa Loren who plays Sherry, and she's so cool. And I always think about, dang, why didn't you have a bigger part on that show? That would have been so awesome. Well, I think they mostly concentrated more on the race issues within Boz, Clay, and Sean. But I feel like African Americans are, at the forefront of a lot of things that happen. And that's probably why they concentrated more on that, because they could build a story around like Clay getting pulled over and with the cops and things like that, and how they perceived how Clay thought that Sean was like some like juvenile delinquent when he met him, when in fact he wasn't. He was actually a guy that's very smart and not trying to, out here be gang banging and stuff like that. I guess if they had more seasons, they possibly could have done that and concentrated on Madison and Sherry more.
Yeah, I think she definitely could have had a bigger character. She had some really good lines.
The Glenn and Aiden feud was epic. And you guys brought up a really interesting point from episode 1 where they get into that argument on the basketball court and they start using like black scents almost.
Baby boy. Baby
yeah,
boy.
yeah, that was totally out of character. Why do you guys think they made them do this?
Well, it's weird because they never did that again. I think that was just the one episode where they were talking like that. I don't think Aiden talked like that. I don't think they ever went back to that. Maybe they got some kind of notes from, when they tested the pilot out. Yeah. But maybe that's how they thought, basketball players talk in general, and tough guy talk is, I guess they thought Black people have the best tough guy talk. So let's put a black scent on them and write them a few lines.
Yeah, I definitely think they misunderstood what tough and arguing was, but it was funny to laugh at. The things they said and how they acted. It was just so ridiculous.
It definitely seemed out of the realm of possibility. Like, it did not seem they were grounded in their characters. It just seemed silly and like a goofy moment that they put into the pilot. Maybe they were just trying to figure out the character still, and they were like, well, we're going to try this out. And then I guess it may not have tested well, so they stopped doing it.
You guys have actually interviewed several of the cast members, like Valerie Ortiz, who played the bitchy cheerleader Madison, Maeve Quinlan, who played the mom Paula, Rob Moran, who played the father Arthur, and even series creator Tom Lynch, which was really, really cool. What was the most interesting revelation from an interview?
Probably in general, that all of them are completely normal. Like, there's no Hollywood BS. There's no diva-ness.
We were nervous to talk to them. And I think Valerie was like, or somebody was like, we're nervous to talk to you. Or like,
I didn't even think about that because you do meet or you hear about so many celebrities being absolute nightmares. So it's good to know that the South of Nowhere cast is amazing as we think they are.
It's a blessing because, like I said, it's my favorite show. So I would hate to meet one of them and find out that they're assholes. And that would just make me not want to ever see the show again.
I felt like I could feel it in the interviews. Like, they just seem so down to earth. Actually, in the interview with Tom Lynch, he said that your guys' show was, quote, the coolest thing in the world, and that it made him feel good and happy. How was it hearing him praise your work like that?
It was weird because, man, this guy got a resi. He got a resi, not just South of Nowhere. He did The Romeo Show. He did Kids Incorporated. He did Caitlin's Way. He gave Fergie her first gig on Kids Incorporated. She was on there. And now look at her. And then you got Jennifer Love Hewitt had her first gig on Kids Incorporated on his show as well. So now look at her. So this guy's a big deal. And for him to be like, your show's the coolest, or he was like, before we interviewed him, he was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous to interview with you guys. I'm like, how? Like, what have we done? Like, you're the man. Alex Mack? Right. Come on now. Like, come on. But yeah, it was so sweet. It's surreal. It's just awesome.
Tom Lynch is definitely the OG, and so it was cool getting to talk to him and have him say that we were the coolest show ever because we talked about one of his shows. So
yeah,
that makes us pretty cool.
Maeve said during her interview with you guys that there were times when she cried reading online comments about her character and seeing fans of the show say things like they hate her, calling her a homophobe. But on the flip side, she said that in real life, people would go up to her all the time and thank her for portraying the mom the way that she did, because it woke their parents up, or people that they knew up, to their own ignorance. So my question is, why do you guys think there was a disconnect online of people hating her, while in real life, people were more likely to thank her?
No, I think internet trolls, because
oh my God, yeah.
People who are trying to bring you down and talk junk about you and they don't even know you in real life. But I also think that the people that came to her in real life were really real and actually want to thank her because they actually got her through some tough times in life by seeing her character.
Yeah, people will say all kinds of weird shit behind their camera or their computer when they're anonymous. I mean, it's also hard because when you see a character on TV and, you take a heart to what they're saying, and it really makes you feel like they're real,
Yeah.
It's hard because it's similar to when we interviewed Valerie, and she's so nice in real life, and it's on South for the first couple seasons she's really intolerable. Mm-hmm. But it's just a test. Even with Maeve, I was kind of scared to interview Maeve. I didn't know if she was actually gonna be nice or cool. And it's just a testament to great acting.
In Asha's interview, this is a funny one. I thought it was interesting that she liked Glenn and Chelsea's relationship when so many fans despised it. Also, series creator Tom Lynch defended it, and I thought it was funny when you guys asked him during his interview if he thought that the Glenn and Chelsea relationship was unrealistic, and he asked if it was because Chelsea was with a white boy. If it was because she was with a white boy. That was funny, but seriously, why do you guys think so many people hated that relationship, and why do you think Asha and Tom were such fans of it?
I'll go first because I was really hyped about this. I didn't like that they were together because it's like she was with Clay, he died, their brother, and then she went and dated the brother. So it's like, that was so weird to me. But when I asked her about it, she was like, it could happen in real life because if you love someone, you love them. It doesn't matter who they are. And then I was like, you're so right. But still, I was also like, it's so weird, like the dynamic of it. But I think that's why Tom and Asha thought, because like, you love who you love,
Yeah.
Asha's just a lover. Asha just loves everybody. She's so positive, and she just wants everyone to be happy. So I feel like that's why she would say that. I think Glenn and Chelsea were cute. I think in some instances it may be weird, but in that instance it worked because they were there for each other. He helped her get more into her art when she was about to quit. He was dealing with issues as far as like feeling like he was trying to live up to what Clay was and not feeling like he fit in with his family. And she was like explaining to him that, you're worthy of being in this family, and you're not a bad guy, and you're not boring, you're not this. So I feel like it wasn't just like a hit it and quit it kind of thing. It was a relationship, So but I think Tom, it was funny when Tom asked us, was it because it was a white boy? Because I guess he would think that because we're two Black girls, but I've dated a white guy before. It's not, I don't know. It's not a big deal. It was a great controversy that happened because it got people talking. So that's always good.
Valerie Ortiz said that it was fun to play the character that everyone loved to hate. She also said that she never got any hate mail, which I found fascinating considering how much Maeve got. But I thought the most interesting thing that she said in that interview, and probably that I heard out of any of the interviews, was that the South of Nowhere cast was not allowed to do some red carpet interviews because of the content of the show being so controversial.
Man, isn't that archaic, man? Yeah. Wow, look how far we've come. What is it, 2021? Oh man, back then it was just a different world. That did really surprise me. I feel like it might have been because we don't want to interview you about this gay show that you do because we don't want to promote, deviant behavior. I think when you're on a red carpet, they ask you, hey, about your show. They were like, well, we don't know what to ask them because we don't want to ask them about their show. Like, I guess what they're wearing or whatever. But I think that's the reason. They just didn't want to promote what was going on the show, even though the show had 3 seasons. But wow, what a time. Dang, you would never have that nowadays.
Right. That's so interesting. Crazy. And then there was this change of theme songs between season 1 and season 2. What do you guys think of the change of the song? Because it went from like this fun, fast rock song to this like way slowed down one, Wasted, which I did grow to love. But at first I was really upset about it.
I like the first theme song better. Hot take, controversial take. I used to play that in my car all the time. I bought it off of iTunes. The Donna's
yes.
Don't Want to Know If You Don't Want Me.
Yes.
I don't know why they changed it. It was so like girl powery. It was like perfect for the series, but Get Wasted makes for a better podcast title. So
yep.
I don't know if I could have called it Don't Want to Know If You Don't Want Me.
I don't really have any connection to the first song, but I like the Get Wasted one. It's very beachy and that my sister put together. I like to play it in the car. It goes hard.
Yeah, we did. I got this producer to add some trap beats behind to remix it in a trap kind of way for the podcast, and I forgot that. Yeah, I might like that one a little better than the original. No offense to LP,
right?
She did her thing, but she did. I like our trap remix. It's pretty good.
I like it too. This one's for both of you guys. Favorite episode, favorite season, favorite character.
Favorite episode is Gay Pride.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite season is season 2.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
Favorite character, Spencer.
Yes.
Also, my favorite season was number 2. And she said Spencer was her favorite character, and Spencer's pretty cool, but I'm gonna go with Ashley, because she also had those crop tops and a really hot bod.
She did.
Crop top alert.
Favorite episode? I liked Juliet and Juliet. Gay Pride was pretty good. The one where they went to the beach in the first episode.
That was my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
That was a really good episode.
Well, the one where they did the little test and everything.
Yeah,
and
the girl. I think it was called Girl Something Out or something.
Girls Guide to Dating.
Yes, Girls Guide to Dating.
Yeah, there's a lot of good episodes, but I don't really have a favorite one.
The way Gay Pride just hit different to me. It just hit different. I don't know. Just everybody getting along. Nobody's fighting, you know? I think that's why I like that one so much. Just, you know, they're throwing a party for Madison. They're all throwing a party for her. She's going away to dance with Justin Timberlake.
And then lastly, who do you guys think was the hottest person on the show?
Aiden, James, Dennison.
God, you know, Aiden and Ashley, they were neck and neck, man.
Oh yeah, Ashley was pretty hot. She was.
They went into overtime, double OT. They were not playing games.
I would definitely give the crown to Aiden and Ashley too.
Definitely, they took their shirt off more than any other people on the show too.
They did. Well, thank you so much for being on this show. I thought that was a really interesting and fun interview, and I never get to talk about South of Nowhere, so it was fun to talk to you guys about it.
Thank you for having us. No one's ever interviewed us before.
Really?
Like, yeah, this is the first. I was like, I like to talk about the show and our podcast and how it came about and what we've done with it over the past almost 2 years. So it's yeah, it was fun doing this.
Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. Is there any last things you'd like to say?
Thanks for having us. This was really fun. Keep doing your thing and keep living life.